I never thought silence could be louder than words. When she turned her back on me and chose him instead, something inside me shattered. I didn't argue. I didn't fight. I just vanished, leaving behind nothing but unanswered questions. For years, I carried that emptiness like a wound I couldn't heal. But fate has a cruel way of circling back. One day, when I least expected it, she appeared again. Not proud, not distant, but broken, begging for the love she once threw away. When she chose him, I didn't argue, didn't scream, didn't even ask her why. I just walked away. To her, it might have seemed like silence, but to me, it was survival. I thought if I disappeared, the pain would fade. But it didn't. It grew. Each day was a reminder that I wasn't enough, that someone else had something I never could give her. The world kept moving, but I felt frozen in that one moment when her eyes refused to meet mine. Nights turned into years, and in every shadow of my life her memory lingered. I tried to bury myself in work, in meaningless conversations, in the illusion of moving forward. But deep inside, a part of me still lived in that moment of rejection. People said time heals everything, but for me, time only deepened the scar. Every success I achieved felt empty. Every smile I forced felt hollow. And no matter how far I ran, the silence of that goodbye followed me. Then one evening, as I sat alone staring at the city lights, I felt it. The shift. A presence I thought I'd never face again. When I turned, it was her. The same woman who had once broken me. Now standing before me. No longer untouchable. No longer triumphant. Her eyes carried something I never expected to see. Desperation. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. She looked so different, yet exactly the same. The years had refined her. Her clothes spoke of success, her posture of authority. But behind it all, there was a fragility in her eyes that betrayed the image she wanted to project. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I wanted to hear what she had to say, but I also wanted her to feel the weight of my silence, the same silence she once left me with. She sat across from me, uninvited, like she already knew she had no right to be there but couldn't stop herself. My mind was a storm. Every memory of us came crashing back, the laughter, the plans, the night she chose him. I wondered if she remembered that night the way I did, or if it was just another decision in her long list of choices. Finally, she spoke. Not with the confidence I remembered, but with a voice that trembled under its own weight. She told me everything had fallen apart. The man she chose wasn't who she thought he was. Promises broken, trust shattered, her empire of dreams had crumbled. And in the ruins, she thought of me. Her words were knives, not because of what she said, but because of what they meant. She only remembered me when life reminded her of what she'd lost. I should have felt vindicated, triumphant even. But instead, I felt an ache that was worse than the day she left. Because even in her desperation, I realized I was still the one she turned to when the world betrayed her. I stared at her, trying to process the storm inside me. Part of me wanted to hold her, to erase the years of distance and believe that maybe fate had brought her back for a reason. Another part of me wanted to turn away, to protect myself from becoming the safe harbor she only ran to when everything else failed. Her eyes glistened with tears as she whispered something I never thought I'd hear. I was wrong. 3 words, yet they carried the weight of everything she had taken from me, and everything I had lost because of her. In that moment, the power shifted. She wasn't the one in control anymore, I was. And the silence I gave her back then, now it was her turn to feel it. Her voice cracked as she repeated those words. I was wrong. They hung in the air like a confession, trembling with regret. I had imagined this moment 1,000 times, rehearsed what I would say if she ever came crawling back. I thought I'd feel satisfaction, maybe even revenge, but standing there watching her unravel, I only felt the weight of everything we had lost. She reached for my hand, and instinct made me pull back. Not out of anger, but out of fear. Fear that if I touched her, all my defenses would collapse. I wanted to ask her why. Why him? Why not me? But deep down, I already knew the answer. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes people choose comfort over chaos, certainty over passion. And I had been the chaos she wasn't ready for. Her tears fell faster, and for the first time she wasn't the woman who once stood so tall, so untouchable. She was human, broken, desperate, and pleading. She told me she thought leaving me was the right choice, that she believed he would give her the future I never could. But in the end, he gave her nothing but scars. Every word pulled me closer to her, yet pushed me further into my own torment. My chest tightened, my mind screamed, and for a second I felt the urge to forgive, to take her in my arms and pretend the years of pain never happened. But then, I remembered those years. The nights I stared at the ceiling wondering why I wasn't enough. The days I wore a smile while bleeding inside. She hadn't been there for that version of me. And now, I wasn't sure if I could be there for this version of her. The silence between us became unbearable. She waited, her eyes begging me to speak, to save her. And in that moment I realized the cruelest choice I could make wasn't walking away. It was deciding whether to open the wound again, or let it finally heal. I sat there, staring at the woman who once meant everything to me. The woman I would have crossed oceans for, torn down walls for, bled for. Now she was the one sitting in front of me, shattered and pleading for something she had already thrown away. A part of me wanted to believe in second chances, to think maybe time had changed us both, that maybe we could rebuild from the ruins. But another part of me knew better. The years I spent alone weren't just empty, they were lessons. Painful lessons that taught me love without loyalty is a wound that never closes. I took a deep breath, my chest heavy, and finally spoke. Not with anger, not with hatred, but with a calmness I never thought I'd find. I told her that I had once begged for her love, once burned myself alive just to keep her warm, but not anymore. I had rebuilt myself from the ashes she left me in, and going back to her would mean setting fire to everything I'd become. Her face crumbled. For the first time, she understood what it meant to be on the other side of silence. She wanted me to stay, but this time it was me who stood up and walked away, not vanishing in pain, but leaving with dignity. As I stepped into the night, I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel bitter. I just felt free. And in that freedom, I realized something powerful. Sometimes the closure we're searching for isn't in rekindling what was lost. It's in knowing you're strong enough to let go. And maybe that's what love really is. Not holding on forever, but knowing when to walk away. When someone chooses another over you, don't waste years waiting for them to crawl back. If they do, it won't be out of love, it will be out of regret. And you deserve more than being someone's second choice.